Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I don't know if you remember last week we spoke about, we just introduced the Lifewave to you guys. And today we're going to dig a little bit deeper. And I've got Mandy with me again, and she's going to be talking about photolight therapy. So, Mandy, over to you.
Well, cool. Thanks so much, Anna Marie. And it's great to be back on your platform again. So, this little wonderful patch and the technology that's behind it is quite amazing. And I think, you and I both know when you look at these little patches, you think, oh, my word, really? That little thing is going to do what exactly? And when we tell people that no ingredients are going into their body, only light, they also go, yeah, whatever. But we know that David is an incredibly clever man when it comes to technology. He's an inventor. He's actually not medically inclined, but he works with a lot of amazing medical professionals. Dr. Connor and her daughter work very closely with David to make sure that what these little patches say they do, they're actually doing within the body system. So when you look at this wonderful little patch, it looks very, very simple. It doesn't look like it holds much punch to it, but if you look very closely, you'll see there's a little white section over here, and that little white section has like a lattice of crystals. So it's a specific shaping of crystals. And what David has understood about the crystals and the body is that if he places this little patch on the body, it uses the body's infrared heat. It activates those little crystals. So many people say to us, well, Mandy, all the patches look the same. How do they do different things? Well, it's the way this lattice, the way that they are shaped. And that's what talks to the body. So basically what happens is using the infrared heat, it's activating those little crystals, and they're almost used like little mirrors. It reflects that heat or that light back into the body again. And when we do that very profoundly, it becomes a little like acupuncture without a needle. You are opening up meridian pathways. And when we look at meridian pathways in acupuncture, we know that sometimes there's blockages, sometimes it can be buckled, and it can be entwined, and that's due to injury, sometimes just old age, or just depending on what that person's body has been through. Remember, this is just our vessel, and sometimes it takes quite a pounding. So if you have an electric cord and you tie it in a knot and you tie it really tightly and you stick it in the plug and you put the plug on and you have an electrical current running through, you'll inevitably have a scenario where that wire will blow because it cannot get its electrical current through that knot. So it's very, very similar in our bodies as well. If those meridian pathways are blocked or they are buckled, then the life force, or what we call chi, can't get through, and we then don't have this vitality through our bodies. So we all know that we are light beings. The more light we can have within our body system, the better. And this is what David profoundly realized. If he could get light back into those meridian pathways, and if he could talk to the body, then he could really turn on some healing processes which would help that person immensely. So when we look at the different patches like X39, we are elevating what we call a GHKCU peptide. So it's talking to the body and telling the body to elevate this GHKCU peptide. And in so doing, it is activating more of our stem cells. So we know that David shared, sorry, I'm going to just finish my sentence. We know that David shared that he worked with the top professor at the time in Ireland who was working with stem cells and stem cell treatment, and he showed him that you do not need to have stem cell treatment. You can use our X39 patch quite effectively, activating more stem cells.
So, just tell me if I'm correct. The GKHU peptide, that's a copper peptide.
It's a copper peptide. So that's actually, yeah.
And there's a lot of information going around at the moment on the benefits of copper to the body.
Yeah.
I mean, we grew up with our parents and our grandparents wearing the copper bands. So it's the same kind of technology, just more scientific now.
Well, it's interesting, Anna Marie, when I was researching for one of our presentations that I was busy setting up for the team, I got onto something that actually fascinated me slightly. In actual fact, this GHKCU peptide is actually found naturally in the body. And what happens is that when you're in a traumatic like a car accident, or you've injured your body really traumatically, okay, this peptide elevates itself automatically to help you. That's like kind of its self-preservation. So what David must have realized is, well, instead of being in some traumatic situation, like, falling off a roof, or injuring yourself in a car accident, or whatever it is that you're doing, how about we try and activate this peptide on a natural day-to-day basis that's going to then give the body more repair. So we also know that as we get older, we only produce 10% of our stem cells. So the way that David has produced this wonderful technology is that we just literally need to put a patch on our body, like what you've got in the front there, and it's going to just talk to the body like a radio and receiver, and it's going to allow the body to tap into its healing processes. So for me, I think it's truly the most amazing technology. And as a wellness practitioner, and I know you are too, we both know how difficult it is to keep homeostasis in people's bodies. This is what our job is to bring balance back. And in my time working with Lifewave, I still to this day cannot believe how well it holds homeostasis. So once it actually gets your body there, like many people say, well, Mandy, if I wear the patches, do I have to continue wearing the patches, or will my issue revert back to how it was? And I often say to them, well, as long as we never know what needs to be fixed, first of all, and as long as you wear the patches, they're going to be repairing. So yes, you can wear it until the symptoms are gone, and hopefully we've repaired enough. But if you've understood the value, like yourself and I, we will not be without our patches, because we know that at our age going on, unfortunately, we only produce 10%. So we really, in all essence, are not producing enough stem cells to repair our bodies on a day-to-day basis. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer. But I suppose with people today, a little bit of budget related, they will want to fix something, and if they perhaps can't afford to continue, they don't necessarily need to, but they have fixed the ailment, which is probably giving them massive pain relief, and it's helped the body switch on the healing. But if they really want to have that ongoing benefit of using these incredible patches, and getting the benefits of more energy, better sleep, mental clarity, wound healing, and remembering that you are repairing the organs on the inside, which automatically make you start looking younger on the outside. So it all depends on how much younger you really want to be.
Yeah. So you mentioned there about a person's budget. So if you were going to give advice to somebody, would you tell them, or would you advise them to start with the X39, because that's more of an overall? Yeah.
Well, you know what? We love the X39. Why? Because it's a new patch in the range. It's only been around for 2.5 years. We know the value of activating more stem cells. We see the results. We see the testimonials. So I always say to someone, well, why don't you just take part in the PC Plus program, which is an amazing program that they've set up to support people in wanting to just do that extra. So basically what you'll do is you'll take your patches, your X39 patches, on a monthly basis, which means that you will get them at wholesale price. And from there, you are going to add those extra samples onto it. I don't think we can basically do it in Qatar yet, but for those people that are looking elsewhere in South Africa and maybe Europe and maybe America, you can definitely hop onto this. Alternatively, if you are going to try the patches, for me, I would say that the X39 is possibly the best one to try, because X39 is going to help heal everything. And then you can try some of the other patches. Eon is an amazing patch. We'll probably speak a lot about Eon in the future, bringing down stress and inflammation. Glutathione is another one that's really detoxifying the body, helping the liver. How many of us livers are just not functioning properly? They're not able to because there's so much toxicity. So there's a few other wonderful, patches in the range that we will. I'm very certain we're going to be talking about in the weeks to come, where you can decide, maybe you want to add that to what it is that you're doing. But for the time being, I do believe that X39 is the best place that you can start, because it's going to really assist you with so many different aspects of your well-being. And then all you really need to do is just stay on it as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, I know for myself, the X39 is the one that I started with. And I think within a few days, I did feel a difference. But then often we second guess ourselves, and you think, oh no, maybe it's just because I didn't eat junk or I didn't do this. And the more you wear the patch, the more you realize, yes, it is actually the patch. Yeah.
Well, you know what, Anna Marie, when I hear back from my clients, when they say things like this to me, they say, you know what, Mandy, I never thought the patches were working. And then I went off them for a week and I realized, holy moly, that's where I got all my energy from. My brain was functioning properly. But at the time when I was wearing them, I thought, you know what, they're not working anymore. You know what, I've fixed my sore shoulder, or I've fixed my knee. You know what, I don't really want to sort of continue it. I'm just going to leave them for a little while. But they realize very quickly. And then you say to yourself, well, then Mandy, does it mean that I have to stay on it, permanently? Well, what are we doing to look after ourselves today? What are we doing with the amount of stress that we are under every single day? If you look at how people were in the past and the lifestyle that they had, it's nowhere near to what we have today. There is so many more things that we put on our plates in a day. How do you expect your nervous system to deal with it? How do you expect your brain to deal with it? So if nothing else, at least activating more stem cells is going to just help you cope with your life a little bit better, and also support your body a bit better.
Yeah, I think so. And it's easy just to, it takes 2 seconds to put on a patch, and that's it, and just make it part of your morning routine. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's it. And that sort of teaches you as well then about setting routines for yourself. Because I think that's a lot of why we have why our nervous system is the way it is, because we don't have a routine. So using the patch, it's got so many other benefits as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we are structured, Anna Marie, and unfortunately, we spend a lot of time in our brain trying to keep track of what we're supposed to be doing. So our brain tends to take a lot of that brunt of whatever it is that we're doing per day. Our emotional well-being takes the brunt of that as well. Our endocrine, our hormones are all over the place because we're constantly in fight or flight. So I think, this is what I love about Lifewave patches, is we don't need to think about it. We don't need to take a shake. We don't need to, remember to take 6 tablets. We don't need to do any of that. We simply brush our teeth. I've got my patches in my bathroom. I brush my teeth, I patch, and off I go. You don't have to think about it. It's doing everything that you need.
And the nice thing is they come in such a small little thing that when you do, even if you go on holiday, it's not like you have a big medicine cabinet. It's just, it's just that. So it's good to take with you on holiday. It's not taking up too much space. Yeah.
Absolutely. But just remember, if you are someone that has, the brain span that forgets, do not put it in your car, because it cannot have heat. It's so funny. I saw one gentleman one day, he was part of our team a while ago, and he had it in his top pocket and he was doing a live on Facebook. And I had a look at this and I thought, does he understand that he's activating 30 patches of Eon? So anyway, once we had finished the live, I phoned him and I said to him, listen, do you know that you've got the sleeve in your pocket? He says, yes, and he's very excited, and he's on his way to go and deliver these. And I said, but do you know that you probably owe your client about 45 minutes of extra, because you've got those patches in your top pocket and you're activating them all? So he says, oh my word, it's no wonder I feel so good. I said, yes, you would feel good.
So then once you put them on, is that when they're activated? Once
So
you take them off, or when they, yeah.
don't want to be putting them near your body because they're activated like they've got to be in the vicinity of 3 centimeters. So if you're putting it in your pocket, you're activating all 30. Okay, so if you are going to deliver them to someone, definitely in your briefcase, and you don't want to be putting them in the sun in your car because heat actually activates it. So if you do leave them lying in the sun, they're going to activate because that's all that they need is heat, because that's how they work. They're activated by the body's heat. So yeah, if you're holding it, if you're, some people, it's so funny because the one lady said, no, I'll just hold it in the car when I give it to my husband when I get home. I said, no, by the time you get home, wherever you're going, you're going to have used up all of his energy in the patch. So she said, oh my word, she said, okay, then I'll put it in my wallet, So definitely remembering that if it's near any heat, it's going to be activated. And then people always say, how long do those patches last, Mandy? Well, those little crystals actually dissolve eventually, and then they just don't work. So, we look at 12 hours on, 12 hours off specifically because we don't want the body to get used to it. But the patch's lifespan is a 24-hour lifespan. So yes, you could stretch it out over a 2-day period. But I always say to people, if you are sick, if you are struggling with something, rather put on a new patch every day. We found in the beginning that if you put on a patch and you use it the next day and you're ailing and you're ill, unfortunately, you will not have the boost that your body needs. So a new patch is definitely the way to go in the beginning. If you're someone like us, we're not really sickly, then you can definitely stretch them over a 2-day period.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I think that's been very informative today. And thanks very much. And to everyone watching, we'll be back next week with another episode. And if there's anything you'd like to know about the patches, leave a comment and we can discuss it in upcoming episodes. And thanks very much. Thanks, Mandy.
Have a lovely afternoon. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.